So I said this year, the main focus of my videos was on my garden, but you got to make time to see a good friend. And today I wanted to visit a great friend with a spectacular garden and share with you some real overwintering secrets.
Where is he?
Unfortunately, went around to his house, Mark, and he wasn't in, so I've come here instead. Mark, how's your garden looking today?
Shocking.
Shocking.
It's winter. It's the first time I've been out in about 3 months. I hate winter. I've got my gloves on. I'm absolutely bloody freezing.
Oh dear.
He's chosen to come when there's a storm that's hit.
The worst possible day to see any garden.
So if you're lucky, you won't be able to hear me on the audio. So, you know.
Potentially, I'm sure some of the jokes will just about sneak through, won't they? But today it's grey, it's grim. There's 50-mile-an-hour gusts, isn't there? Not a great day to be outside. But if you want to see a garden in all its true winter realities, we'll say, today is the day. Today's video isn't going to be quite as long as usual because we're actually on a road trip after this. Stay tuned, oh yes, a big road trip, for some real propagation secrets. Stay tuned for that video coming up next, but for now, let's have a look around your garden, Mark. Let's see it all.
Oh God.
So Mark, when I last visited you in autumn time last year, I think you promised that you're going to start protecting some of your garden. You were a change man, if I believe.
No, I have. Look, I put plastic tubs over the Acaveras.
Look at that. Look at the effort that's gone into your garden.
To be fair,
they actually look fantastic.
They are looking sweet.
Wow. I am impressed. Yeah, I mean, you've seen similar temperatures to me.
Yeah.
That wind is absolutely roaring, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty strong. I mean, the Cyagras, we don't have any spear pull, which is good. The Brahias are looking good. They don't seem to be in any way affected at the moment.
No.
Touch wood. See, touch wood. This one yeah.
He's touching wood, see there. That's the first of many jokes to come in this video,
I apologise, I don't have wood. But yeah, so at the moment, nothing's spear pulled. Everything's looking relatively happy. I haven't been able to come out here and have a proper tidy up of all the dead stuff and what have you, but
I think, to be honest, Mark, I asked you a while back, how's your garden looking? And you say, I'm not a winter gardener. I don't go out with my garden over winter. And it's not looking bad considering your complete lack of effort.
Well, I mean, this is absolute proof that I don't do anything to my garden over winter because it looks absolutely shocking. There's still leaves everywhere.
You've probably been a bit harsh on yourself.
There's failed attempts at mini greenhouses. There's successful attempts at mini greenhouses.
Let's show people that.
So people will remember that this was the Colocasia area.
Yes.
And my mate Tony from Tony's Tropical Plants, who sold me the Colocasia mammoths, he suggested that a little greenhouse cloche type thing packed full of straw would be sufficient. So here it is. We had one attempt where I bought one of these things and the cover flew off and everything got wet.
Potentially that one over there.
Yeah, so hence all the strewn about straw and what have you that's got damp and...
But this looks good.
It's worked. It seems to work.
Hopefully.
Yeah, and then
hopefully.
We have the forest of inches, as I like to call it.
Forest of inches?
Yeah, so we've managed to keep some of the height of the banana stems and, you know, we've managed to retain, so that's pretty firm under there, to be fair. So my attempts at overwintering the banana pseudo stems seems to have worked.
So obviously we're filming this video in late January. We've just had a couple of weeks ago the coldest spell of the winter, haven't we?
Yes.
I got down to a -6 10 minutes down the road, so you probably saw about -1 here, did you? Something like that.
To be fair, I clocked it at -5, but it could have been lower. But yeah, I mean, compared to normal, this is up here, and there's actually a bit of a roller coming out there. So for me to be starting off with 5 feet rather than it being a chop back to the ground.
Mark, that is a genuine 5 foot, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
New year, new Mark.
Hold on a second.
It's possibly even more.
I'm 6'2".
So you keep claiming, yes.
And this is, you know, so not too bad.
There we go.
And for something, God, I don't know how much this cover was. It was on Amazon. I'm probably the top buyer of clothesline covers in North Lincolnshire.
So that's what these are, isn't it? I've heard the tip mentioned on Facebook before. I've not done it myself, but if you want to wrap individual banana shooter stems,
so I mean, look, there's a perfect example of one that has remained uncovered.
Oh dear, oh dear.
We've got a floppy episode, not for the first time today.
What's that, Mark?
What?
Has that one flopped, or was it just a little?
Oh yeah, to be fair, that one. She's a bit droopy too, but don't worry. Bit of a rub, be right back.
So for people who haven't followed your progress and haven't wasted hours watching the old videos in the back catalogue,
don't blame you.
Yeah, don't do it. But Mark's gone through, we'll say, years of not protecting this at all.
Yeah.
Some years it's been completely wiped down to the ground, all these soft bananas turning into mush, but coming back again. And in other years, it's been mild enough that they've survived anyway.
So last year was mild enough that we managed to retain some height. So if I take you back this way, George, along my lovely new Balinese path.
Oh, yes. Wow, look at this. I'm struggling to fit the path and your smug grin in the same shot.
Look at her. Look at her.
So, we're seeing here work in progress, but
hey, no, this is finished.
New path.
Yeah, new path.
Oh, sorry.
But we've got a good old clump here of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pseudo stems. This one's 6 foot tall. This one's 6 foot tall, and they're all protected.
That's all bought you a tape measure for Christmas.
Yeah.
Don't want to know why.
It's not been past 6 inches yet.
No.
But,
4.
So yeah, everything's looking pretty good actually.
Yeah.
I think I've shown you in a previous video all my Trachycarpus seedlings, and I've subsequently discovered, probably not said anything, but they are actually a hybrid between Wagneranus, I always say that wrong, and Fortunii. So I have a forest of those that are going to go down the back.
That's very cool.
We have sorted that, so we now have that. So that's going to be my Trachycarpus forest in about 10 years. And my wife has finally decided that we're not moving house.
Oh, that's the first time I've heard.
So,
to be fair, I've not even shared that you might have been moving house.
No. And to be fair, I was living in denial for a while. But yeah.
I'm genuinely pleased for. Yeah, you put so much work into this place, and there's so much promise. Future projects that we won't mention in today's video, but I mean, I am pleased for you.
It would have been pretty depressing.
And let's face it, this would have wiped hundreds of thousands of pounds off the value of your house, wouldn't it?
To be fair, I think the value of the house of actually having so many bananas that someone needs to look after, it probably would have been enough to put the vast majority of people off.
Oh yeah, but the most wealthy millionaires, deluded people.
Deluded,
in fact,
mostly.
We haven't ventured under that archway in our videos yet, have we?
Into
we haven't shown people Wifeland, which is a beautiful cottagey. Well, how do you describe it, Mark? A mixture of vegetables, flowers, and just beautiful things. Obviously, we're looking at this in the middle of winter. It's going to be bleak and bare.
We've got this. So this is my Clematis hedge, which kind of I promised my wife she could have part of the garden. I do regret it, obviously, but this is kind of my propagation, vegetable, growing stuff area. Chickens in the corner. A spare loquats turned into that top corner over there as well.
Yeah, notice that's
and then this is my area where I kind of take over, and so there's loads of overwintering succulents and stuff in here.
Wow.
Loads of agaves, money trees.
Money trees? Has that just come through like that? No heating in here or anything?
Nothing.
Wow, it's still green.
Yeah.
That's impressive, that.
Yeah, but I have an Agave attenuata. I got 2 of them. Both of them were in here initially. We had a cold snap. One of them's nearly died a death, and the other one looks absolutely fine. They're in the other greenhouse.
So we'll see the other greenhouse, a little nip in there very shortly.
So that is probably the biggest attempt at overwintering I have had.
Oh, it's nearly full, basically.
Yeah.
Bit of propagation over there as well, isn't there?
Yeah, and I haven't started with anything else yet because I don't have anything particularly heated, so
no,
I'm not big on the whole coleus and irisine and heated cuttings and stuff. Yeah,
I know what you said. It's the next level up in terms of equipment, skill, dedication.
Yeah, it's the skill, to be honest with you, purely skill. I just don't manage to get it. I am very much someone who's always had to buy established plants or established bedding plants, you know.
Just so I can move out the way before that window takes my head clean off. This Clematis, if you're looking for an evergreen, just to give this video a little smattering of practical advice for gardeners, if you want a fast-growing evergreen, Clematis armandii, I mean, this is going to look spectacular, isn't it? In a few weeks, all these flowers.
I bloody love it.
It's amazing. It just grows so quickly. This is what I've used for my arch as well.
This gets cut back heavily, just multiple times a year.
Yes.
You can be absolutely brutal with it, and it comes back thicker and faster. This, I have some photos 4 or 5 years ago. It started off as 3 plants. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. And now it absolutely devours.
A legit jungle.
The other cool thing is this.
I can see what you're heading towards here.
These Tetrapanax,
yes,
they have run from the jungle hut.
Oh,
which is about 3.5, 4 meters with a barrier.
Wow. And they're actually pushing this top sleeper out as well.
So don't let anyone tell you that Tetrapanax doesn't run, because it does.
I remember in my video talking about Tetrapanax, I said they haven't run much for me, but all it takes is one cold winter, isn't it? And that's it, they're away.
That was the year that I lost the main trunk.
Right, and that's
I had
it.
loads of suckers come up, and I had potted on loads, and I couldn't even give the flipping things away. But look, there's a baby one here coming through as well. So that's 3 of them that have come up and through, and yeah, they just go.
That can happen as a result of a cold winter, but this winter it appears that it's hardly touched your garden.
Touch wood.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously we're heading to February now, which can be the coldest month of the year potentially.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. But I think we need to see around your garden, see some of your plants for, we'll say, the last time before they get a fairly drastic haircut.
Yeah. So I've spoken before about my Brassaiopsis walking stick.
Yes.
And I saw a post that Dave Jones at Sunk Island did showing his propagation, and the area, which I'll walk you over to, you know where it is.
I do indeed.
But the area that I struggle with terrifically over here is, obviously, I've spoken about it before, deep shade, quite dry. And
under all these huge mature trees. Yeah.
So this area needs redeveloping, and the Brassaiopsis in the back there, bless it, it is kind of lost. It's a 5-foot pole, and I have previously seen that cutting it back can cause it to branch, and it would appear that this is the time of year to try and propagate it. So that's what we're doing. It's getting a haircut.
It's getting a haircut, and we should probably say Sean left the crucial phrase in our group chat: if Mark's got any other plants he wants propagating, bring them along. Are we going to take advantage of that, Mark?
Yeah, well, it immediately obviously got me thinking, because the plan is, if this can get distributed through different parts of the garden, or as I've said before, sell them on to fund the hobby, why not?
Yes.
Hobby, yeah, addiction.
Definitely an addiction.
So we have Schefflera. What's the one that you lost that mine has lived and
okay,
thrived?
we don't have to go there. Schwelliensis, Mark.
Schwelliensis, yeah. So we've got a bit of that to chop up. We've got the Brassaiopsis to chop up, and we've got some Pseudopanax to chop up, and some Metapanax delvae.
That one, yes.
That one.
Well, that's coming in the next video. A propagation masterclass from Dave and Sean over at Sunk Island.
You've really started progressing with your videos. You've now started leading the consumer onto the next video in a future video.
Oh yes, that's the way it is, Matt. That's the way. Next up, I'm going to get sponsored by, what do you reckon, Squarespace will be straight in there, will they?
Oh, I'd say so.
Not really.
Oh yeah, I mean, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, you definitely like the naturalistic wow side of things, Mark.
It's a bit too far. I mean, I've got a tree growing out of a tree. I probably need to do something about that.
Yeah, I know you like a bit of scruffiness on your tree ferns, but that is pretty wild, isn't it?
I mean, maybe leave an idea in the comments of whether you think it needs cutting back or leave it.
I don't think a single person's going to say leave that.
You reckon?
Look at it, it's a tree now. Madness. Yeah. But one thing I will say is that wind absolutely rocks the garden. These tree ferns are green. I just live 10 minutes down the road as a crow flies, or another bird of your choice. Mine are all brown, yours are looking green. I mean, I guess it comes down to this being, we'll say, a preferred place for them to enjoy life.
I didn't get my t-shirt.
Oh no.
I haven't got my t-shirt again.
Maybe one for May. You wouldn't see it under 7 layers, would you?
Yeah, well, maybe that's who can sponsor the next video.
I think it possibly could be.
The range of t-shirts.
But look, hashtag right plan, right place.
I keep on talking about it, and I maintain, look, there is no winter protection here whatsoever. Zero. Nature's done it for me. Look at this.
You were jammy sod until that cold winter, and
look at it.
Yes.
Nature is my overwinterer.
You were going to say that. Well, that's a t-shirt that you want, isn't it?
That's the second in the range. T-shirt number 2 is nature is my overwinterer.
So show us some of the plants in here, which might be getting a little bit of a chop back.
This Schwelliensis we've decided that can probably get chopped back around here.
Yeah.
And there's a good bit of space here to get some extra stuff.
It's a beautiful Schefflera, that one, isn't it? I love it.
Yeah, I know. You have mentioned. Well, tell you what.
I'm just jealous.
If Dave works his magic, there might be one lined up for you. Play your cards, right?
We'll see. Come on, Dave, you can do it.
Metapanax. This could do with a little bit of a haircut. It is kind of lost behind this cord line. If it bushes out and again branches, then fantastic, it's done its job.
So essentially, you've reached out to Sunk Island and said, you know, I saw your videos on Instagram about how to propagate unusual exotic hardwood plants.
Yeah.
So we'd look around the garden this morning to find plants which don't mind getting chopped back a little bit.
What the hell can we cut into that might work?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have all these, you know, glorious evergreens I can hack back at my house, really.
Well, this one,
come here.
This one is kind of like edged over, going into the path. And if it's the right time of year to give it a little bit of a chop, it saves it being unused when I have to chop it back in a few months' time.
I mean, personally, I'd probably wait a month or so myself, but they've said now's a good time to get the cuttings growing. And let's face it, we'd rather the cuttings grow than the plants in your garden. They don't really matter, do they?
Today's the day.
Today's the day.
Since I've not been out in the garden for 3 months, I'm just going to stick my fingers in the top of here and see if there's any knuckles, because I fear that this one might actually...
Oh,
and there is. There's knuckles there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So...
And there's knuckles there.
Whilst you are protecting some plants in your garden, you've not changed any tree ferns. You've not changed your overwintering practices. You've not been taught any bitter lessons.
No. Well, I mean, considering that the bananas got wrapped, the last bananas were wrapped at -3.
Yes.
And they haven't been unwrapped. I mean, I do see on the groups people go out and they wrap them and they unwrap them and they wrap them again and they unwrap them again and they let them have a breather. I just don't have the time. I do have the time. I just don't have the inclination.
Yeah, that's definitely the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, looking over here, I've got to say, although your summer stuff, yeah, I know last year you took out that euphorbia, didn't you? Had a beautiful summer bed there.
Yeah.
There's some obvious gaps, but the evergreen structure, including some of the half-hardy stuff like the butiagris there, they're looking great, aren't they?
Thank you.
It's a spectacular view still, even in the worst day of the year to show it.
It's almost as if I've put some thought into it over the years, which is... Dun, dun, dun. It's a real shocker, that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Now, the Arid section, this is one where you've spoken about winter protection, and it appears you've actually followed through and done it as well.
Have you ever actually seen it? Probably not. So
no.
This is the cover over the sagos, looking a bit worse for wear. We hopefully won't have any snow, but you never know.
Yeah, you don't like to knock the snow off.
It covers the worst of it, and so far, they're looking pretty good. Everything's looking quite happy under there. Nothing's looking particularly unhappy or like it's going to die.
So lots of people treat these as basically conservatory plants, wouldn't they? Move them inside. I've experimented with mine, keeping it into a cool, in a cool polytunnel. This year, I've not had the heating on when it got to -3, and it still looks green. So essentially, you're doing the same here, aren't you? Just keeping that real frost and rain off the crowns, and they look beautiful.
Which is exactly, I mean, I'll have to decide whether I'm going to chop these ones back next year.
Yeah.
Because they're looking a bit unhappy. But then... I don't cut anything off the tree ferns, so why would I cut anything off those?
I was going to point out that little inconsistency there, Mark, but I do love the green colour and just having a green bed.
Mr. Consistent. Behind you is kind of the whole structure that is built over the arid bed. So it literally, other than the Yucca rigida, no, not rigida, Schefflera.
Schefflera australis,
yes, apologies. Yeah. That has grown up to the point that it now has to stick through. She's gone up. And a few years ago, it was well under. So that thing's motored away.
Yeah, it really has.
But the agaves that I bought this year, Avatifolia Ice Heart, Avatifolia Vanzi.
Vanzi, yeah.
And I've got Montana somewhere over there. It's probably the only one that's not looking terribly happy.
Yeah, it doesn't look too bad.
It's not awful. But
they all look good.
In all fairness, everything doesn't look awful, which I'm thrilled with, really. I think we've spoken about him before. There's the Spiky Obsession and Spiky Vista on Instagram.
Yes.
This is exactly what they do. They build these structures, they stick them over. These things are killed by snow or water in the crown and then a freeze.
This is it, yeah.
This is what kills them. So trying to protect them from that is ultimately the objective.
And this year was the crucial year while they're still small, isn't it? If you get them through this winter, they'll hopefully motor away, roots in the ground, size up, and every year they'll get tougher, more resistant to cold.
Well, there's guys down on the south coast that have got Agave Americanas that are absolutely flipping ginormous.
Did you see that one on Pan Global recently? That huge one. It's absolutely
sickening,
isn't it?
I saw another one. So there's a guy with a channel and he went to visit a private garden, and straight out the back door, there's an absolutely ginormous Agave Americana. Some people call it agave. I don't know which potato.
I'm an agave, but yes.
And it was absolutely flipping ginormous.
Yeah.
And it had snow on it. And there's agave ferox.
Yeah,
They get ginormous with snow covered on them. And I've just personally found, I had a variegated Americana and a standard Americana, and I've left them unprotected and I've left them covered, and every single year they've died. So I don't bother with them anymore.
No.
I just can't be bothered with them anymore. That is a plant that I've got to the point that I'm fed up of losing. But to show you some plants I've tried to keep.
Well.
Did you like that segue?
I liked it. It was, yeah. I mean, I was going to intersperse a few little practical tips about, variety selection, overhead cover, but we've done all that before.
Oh.
People want to see in here.
Here we go.
Wow.
This Sparmania got left out by accident, but it actually has a very green, fresh bit on it. So hopefully it will be okay.
Matt, this is ridiculous. This is like Secret Garden of Loud.
It's really silly, isn't it?
In the best way, obviously.
Yeah, I've still got colocaceas in full leaf.
So this, in the past, this has been more of a display, we'll say a tropical hothouse, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas this year, it is pretty much an ark for every plant that you don't want to leave outside.
Yeah, this has not been heated all winter.
That was going to be my next question. So -5 outside, Monstera, Thai constellation. Again, it comes back to your idea of these tough plants that can maybe grow in Florida, can potentially survive under glass here without heating.
I would imagine it probably dipped. I would say it's probably dipped below 5 in here.
So for people who aren't in the UK, we did have, we'll say about 4 days, didn't we? That almost ice days, sub-zero temperatures at night, and everything in here, just by being kept under glass and drier, especially the colocaceas there, it is looking, well, fantastic.
Here's the attenuata that's not happy, and then behind you is the attenuata, exactly same conditions, from the same person, looking pretty damn happy. So there's absolutely no rhyme or reason to it. But this is exactly what I've said in previous videos. Sometimes you do your best to look after stuff, and 50% of the time, just flipping dies.
So the only practical advice you can get from that is buy multiples. For everyone watching this whose partners are saying you only have one plant today, tell them no, that just doesn't make sense, does it?
Or to fill it nicely into what we're doing, try and propagate them.
Yeah, I tell you what, you're a slick operator, Mark. Today you're full of segues.
Here I am, yeah.
Well,
not hopefully.
Mark just said a joke that will have been removed by the time you're watching this video. So I'm going to leave this bit in just to highlight the awkwardness of what you've just said.
Abutilon's still in full leaf. We've got the hot lava here. These have been pulled out. They're still in flower.
Wow, I'm going to actually zoom into the jungle here.
Look at them, still in flower.
Wow.
So, yeah, the Brugmansias have dropped all the leaves now, as you'd expect. But I'm pretty flipping happy with it, really.
To be honest, Matt, I came here expecting to see, a mixture of successes and failures. But I've got to say, on the whole, everything is looking, it's good, isn't it? Touch wood.
95% success so far. And look, this is these, what do you call them? Plectranthus little jobbies that we got. They were tiny little 9cm pots.
Did you get them from?
Sunk Island. Look at the flipping state of them. They've gone mad.
That, I've got to say, that would make a fantastic understory plant just to spread around here, wouldn't it?
Which, and the bigger picture is that that's probably the kind of thing that I do need to do, because I did dabble with some bits and pieces in here to see if I could overwinter it. So there's some irisine I can see here that's died a death.
Yeah, they're a little bit on the softer side of things, aren't they?
Yeah. We don't like things on the soft side.
You very much have to experiment, and when you do find something that works like these, just go for it. Grow them, have an easier life, and still have that cool tropical look.
And so this is the first year out of the last 5 or 6 years where I have actually thought to myself, you know what? I am going to give it a go with more tender stuff.
Oh, the cycle begins again.
Honestly, you think you'd learn after a while. And no, not learn after a while. Like, I still love Vanda orchids. I went through a period of all the Vanda orchids dying off, and then I see them and I'm like, I really like those. Let's buy some more. There's just no...
It's one of them, isn't it? No one kills more plants than a good gardener, do they?
I like that. That's t-shirt number 3.
Well, yeah, we'll be churning them out, won't we, at this rate? I genuinely am surprised at how much, not surprised, but pleased to see so many overwintering successes.
I think surprise was right.
Yeah, we'll keep it a surprise. But today's video has just been a very quick one. Next up, we've got a road trip. So if you enjoyed this video, then, well, I don't know, have a serious look at your lifestyle choices.
You're not videoing me savaging the plants?
Well, I think that needs to be the start of the next video.
That's going to be X-rated, surely.
X-rated. There we go. If you enjoyed this video, press the subscribe button. There we go. Does that sound a bit YouTubery? Press the subscribe button and check out our next video where Mark will be hacking up some rare and valuable plants, and we'll be hopefully experiencing a propagation masterclass over at Sunk Island. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Yeah, I don't like it when I go full YouTuber. It's not me, is it?
No.
No.
I'm scared.
Let's just leave it there.
Yeah.
Bye. Oh my, what are you doing, Mark? Are you just going for it? Wow. No, that sounded like a good clean cut.
Say hello to my little friend.